The pristine, carefully constructed world of Steffy Forrester Finnegan has finally shattered into a million irreparable pieces. For weeks, the suffocating weight of her darkest secret has been pressing down on her chest, a ticking time bomb waiting for the perfect moment to detonate. That moment has arrived with catastrophic force. John Finn Finnegan, the man who has always been her rock, her gentle healer, and her fiercely loyal protector, has stumbled upon the undeniable, irrefutable proof of her passionate affair with Carter Walton. The truth, hidden beneath layers of hypocritical deflections and desperate lies, has been dragged into the unforgiving light of day. The revelation of this ultimate betrayal is not just a crack in the foundation of the SINN marriage. It is a seismic earthquake that threatens to swallow everyone involved. When Finn's eyes scan the damning evidence of his wife's infidelity with one of the most trusted men in their inner circle, a terrifying transformation takes place. The gentle, compassionate doctor who has dedicated his life to saving others is instantly extinguished. In his place emerges a man consumed by a dark, suffocating rage that is almost primal in its intensity. The betrayal cuts so deep that it fractures Finn's very psyche, unleashing a dormant darkness that he has spent his entire life trying to suppress. For the first time, the sinister, obsessive genetics of his biological mother, Sheila Carter, seem to course through his veins, turning his heartbreak into a dangerous, volatile weapon. The man who once promised to protect Steffy from all harm has suddenly become the greatest threat to her safety. The betrayal is magnified 1,000-fold by the agonizing memories of Finn's own unwavering devotion. He recalls the countless times he stood by Steffy's side, fighting off the physical and emotional threats posed by Sheila Carter. He remembers staring into Steffy's eyes just days prior, praising her honesty, her integrity, and her purity, completely oblivious to the fact that she was harboring a secret so vile it would destroy them both. This cognitive dissonance, the stark contrast between the pedestal he placed her on and the horrifying reality of her drunken infidelity, is what truly breaks his mind. Finn's reality has been inverted. The woman he viewed as his moral compass has proven to be as deceptive and ruthless as the mother he has spent his life condemning. This profound psychological trauma is the catalyst that morphs his heartbreak into a dangerous, calculated thirst for revenge. The confrontation that ensues is nothing short of apocalyptic. Finn completely loses control, his voice trembling with a terrifying blend of agony and wrath as he backs Steffy into a corner. He does not just demand answers, he demands absolute destruction. The devastating pain of being played for a fool pushes him over the edge. Finn looks into the eyes of the woman he loves and vows to obliterate everything she holds dear. He threatens to tear down her reputation, rip away her career at Forrester Creations, and destroy the very fabric of her family. The sheer venom in his words leaves Steffy paralyzed with fear, realizing too late that her reckless night of passion has awakened a monster she cannot control. Carter Walton, who has been carrying his own agonizing burden of guilt, quickly senses the catastrophic shift in the atmosphere. Knowing Finn's fragile emotional state and witnessing the terrifying escalation of his threats, Carter realizes that Steffy is in grave, immediate danger. The protective instincts that have always defined Carter's character kick into overdrive. He is no longer just the guilty lover or the conflict-dead husband. He is a man desperately trying to shield the woman he loves from the wrath of a scorned husband. Carter knows that as long as Steffy remains in Los Angeles, she is a target for Finn's uncontrollable vengeance. He must get her out, and he must do it immediately before the situation turns deadly. Under the cover of a fierce, torrential storm that perfectly mirrors the chaotic destruction of their lives, Carter orchestrates a daring and desperate escape. The rain lashed against the windows of the Cliff House, masking the sound of their hurried footsteps as Carter secretly whisks Steffy away into the unforgiving night. The lightning illuminates their panicked faces, highlighting the sheer terror and adrenaline pumping through their veins. This is no longer a romantic tryst, it is a frantic flight for survival. They are leaving behind their shattered marriages, their responsibilities, and their entire lives, driven by a primal need to escape the explosive fallout of their own sins. The drive out of Los Angeles is fraught with unbearable tension. Every pair of headlights in the rearview mirror feels like a threat, every crack of thunder a reminder of the wrath. They are fleeing. Carter grips the steering wheel with white knuckles, his mind racing through 1,000 different scenarios, while Steffi sits beside him, trembling and staring blankly into the stormy abyss. They are heading toward the only sanctuary Carter can think of, a remote, secluded Forrester family cabin nestled deep within the treacherous, snow-capped mountains of Aspen, Colorado. It is a place of isolation, a fortress where they can hide from the world and, hopefully, from the vengeful spouses they have left behind. Arriving at the Aspen cabin, the stark contrast between the freezing, hostile environment outside and the suffocating heat of their guilty love inside is palpable. The cabin, usually a luxurious retreat for the Forrester elite, now feels like a beautiful prison. The towering pines and thick layers of snow create an impenetrable barrier, cutting them off from civilization. Inside, the crackling fireplace casts long, dancing shadows on the walls, reflecting the inner turmoil of the two fugitives. They are finally alone, safe from the immediate threat of Finn's physical rage, but they are entirely defenseless against the psychological demons that have followed them into the mountains. The Aspen cabin itself is steeped in a rich, complicated history of Forrester family heartbreak and scandal. It is the very same secluded retreat where Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester have shared both passionate reunions and devastating farewells. It is the place where Taylor Hayes once shed bitter tears over shattered marriages. Now, it serves as the backdrop for a new generation's ultimate betrayal. The ghosts of past Forrester scandals seem to whisper through the wooden beams, reminding Steffi that she is repeating the destructive cycles of her ancestors. As she stares out the frosted windows at the endless expanse of white snow, she cannot help but feel that the cabin is a beautiful, frozen purgatory. She is cut off from the warmth of her children, Kelly and Hayes, whose innocent faces haunt her dreams. The agonizing realization that her reckless night of passion might cost her the right to hold her children again brings Steffi to her knees, weeping in the arms of the man who is both her savior and her downfall. For Steffi, the isolation of Aspen forces her to confront the devastating reality of her actions. Stripped of her corporate power and her carefully curated image, she is left with nothing but the crushing weight of her guilt. She thinks of Finn, the man whose heart she has mercilessly broken, and the terrifying stranger he became in the wake of her betrayal. She thinks of her family, and the horrifying possibility that Finn's threats to destroy her life might sever her from them forever. Yet, amidst the paralyzing fear and remorse, there is the undeniable, magnetic pull toward Carter. The man who risked everything to save her, the man whose touch ignited a fire she thought was long dead, is now her only lifeline in a world she has completely destroyed. Carter, too, is drowning in an ocean of conflicting emotions. He looks at Steffi, the woman he has sacrificed his reputation and his marriage for, and feels a fierce, unwavering devotion. He is determined to protect her, to be the shield against the storm they have created. But the ghost of Daphne Rose Walton haunts his every waking moment. Daphne, who returned from Paris ready to fight for their marriage, who poured her heart out to him despite her devastating infertility diagnosis, only to be abandoned in the most cruel and humiliating way imaginable. Carter's betrayal of Daphne is a jagged pill that tears at his conscience, leaving him questioning his own morality and the true cost of his forbidden love for Steffi. The remote cabin becomes a crucible, testing the very limits of their relationship. Their affair, born out of mutual grief, intoxication, and a desperate need for comfort, is now subjected to the ultimate pressure cooker. They are no longer just lovers sharing a stolen moment. They are partners in exile, bound together by a shared trauma and the terrifying reality of being hunted. The passionate encounters that once felt like a thrilling escape now carry a desperate, almost melancholic undertone. They cling to each other not just out of desire, but out of a profound, existential fear of what awaits them if they are ever found by the people they have wronged. Back in Los Angeles, the fallout of their escape is catastrophic. John Finn Finnegan is no longer a man. He is a force of nature driven by a singular, obsessive goal: vengeance. The realization that Steffy has fled with her lover completely shatters any remaining fragments of his sanity. The betrayal is a poison that infects his mind, twisting his love into a dark, consuming hatred. Finn begins to tear through the city, interrogating anyone who might have a clue, his eyes burning with a manic intensity. The gentle doctor is dead, replaced by a relentless hunter who will stop at nothing to track down his prey and exact a punishment that fits the crime. Finn's descent into this dark, vengeful state is a terrifying echo of his biological lineage. The obsessive, predatory nature of Sheila Carter, which Finn has always feared and fought against, now seems to be guiding his every move. He is calculating, cold, and utterly devoid of mercy. He views Carter not just as a rival, but as a thief who has stolen his life, and he views Steffy as a traitor who must be made to realize the catastrophic consequences of her actions. Finn's pursuit is not about winning Steffy back. It is about absolute, terrifying retribution. He swears to the heavens that when he finds them, he will make them pay in ways they cannot even begin to imagine. Simultaneously, a parallel manhunt is being orchestrated by a woman whose heartbreak has crystallized into icy, unyielding determination. Daphne Rose Walton, who had just begun to hope for a reconciled future with Carter, is struck by the devastating reality of his betrayal. The pain of her infertility diagnosis, the agony of feeling inadequate, is now compounded by the ultimate humiliation of her husband fleeing with her friend in the middle of the night. But Daphne does not crumble into a helpless victim. Instead, her grief hardens into a sharp, focused resolve. She wipes her tears and taps into a formidable inner strength that no one, not even Carter, knew she possessed. Daphne's pursuit is a masterclass in strategic maneuvering. She refuses to be the weeping, discarded wife. Instead, she channels her profound grief into actionable intelligence. Drawing upon her time in Paris and her connections within the European fashion elite, Daphne begins to pull strings that even the Forrester family would struggle to untangle. She reaches out to international contacts, ensuring that if Carter attempts to flee abroad, he will be instantly flagged. Moreover, she uses her intimate knowledge of Forrester Creations' internal logistics to access private flight logs and corporate credit card statements. Daphne is piecing together a puzzle of betrayal, and with every clue she uncovers, her resolve hardens. She is not just looking for her husband, she is hunting down the man who shattered her dreams of a family, and she intends to make him face the devastating reality of his choices. The dual pursuit by Finn and Daphne creates an atmosphere of suffocating suspense. The hunters are closing in from different angles, driven by distinct but equally powerful forces of betrayal and heartbreak. As Daphne's international network begins to zero in on the Forrester properties in Colorado, and Finn's obsessive manhunt points him toward the snowy peaks of Aspen, the net around Carter and Steffy begins to tighten. The fugitives are entirely unaware of the sophisticated and relentless forces mobilizing against them, living in a fragile bubble of borrowed time that is destined to burst with spectacular violence. In the heart of the Aspen Mountains, the psychological toll of their isolation begins to manifest. The initial adrenaline of the escape fades, replaced by a creeping, omnipresent paranoia. Every howling gust of wind sounds like approaching footsteps. Every creak of the cabin's timber feels like a breach in their security. Steffy and Carter find themselves jumping at shadows, their nerves frayed to the absolute breaking point. The guilt of what they have done to Finn and Daphne hangs over them like a dark storm cloud, poisoning their stolen moments of intimacy. They are forced to confront the horrifying reality that their love, no matter how deep or passionate, is built on a foundation of lies and shattered lives. This agonizing waiting game becomes the ultimate test of their forbidden romance. Can the intense connection that sparked in the Forrester CEO office survive the brutal, unforgiving reality of being hunted? As the pressure mounts, cracks begin to form in their united front. Steffy's overwhelming maternal guilt clashes with Carter's desperate need to justify their actions. They are forced to ask themselves if this love is truly worth the apocalyptic price they are paying. The cabin, once a sanctuary, slowly transforms into a psychological battleground where their deepest fears and insecurities are laid bare for both of them to see. As the storm rages on outside, dumping fresh layers of snow upon the Aspen landscape, an even darker storm is rapidly approaching from Los Angeles. Finn, fueled by a Sheila-esque obsession, and Daphne, armed with her international resources, are on a direct collision course with the guilty lovers. The stage is set for a confrontation of epic proportions, a reckoning that will forever alter the destinies of the Forrester, Finnegan, and Walton families. The remote mountain cabin is about to become the epicenter of a devastating emotional explosion, proving that in the world of the bold and the beautiful, no sin goes unpunished and no secret stays buried forever. The chilling reality is that Carter and Steffy's desperate flight was never just about escaping punishment. It was a harrowing journey into the depths of their own guilt. Now, trapped in a beautiful, snowy prison of their own making, they must brace themselves for the inevitable arrival of the two people they have destroyed. The vengeful doctor and the determined wife are coming to collect their dues, and when they finally kick down the door of that Aspen cabin, the fallout will be nothing short of legendary. The ultimate test of love, loyalty, and survival is about to begin, and the only certainty is that no one will walk away unscathed.